All right, y'all know what it is. When y'all hear that sound, y'all know it's time for another episode of How the Ball Bounces. How the Ball Bounces. We got a great broadcast lineup for you this evening. Got so much we need to talk about. We got so much that we need to talk about, and so much we're going to tackle tonight. I'm just a question asker. My name is Raheem. I'm gonna go around and give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves. Hey Chris, if you get some headphones, brother.
Give me a second.
Okay. Why he's doing that? Tell everybody who you are, brother, and where you're hailing from.
I'm coming out of Greensboro, North Carolina. My name is Todd Woods.
The legendary. Say what you mean. Say what you mean.
Hey. Sometimes I ain't got to say it with my heart. I do it with my muscles sometimes.
Hey, that's how you do it, brother. That's exactly how you do it. Waiting on Chris to get back here so he can tell us who he is and where he's hailing from, and we're gonna kick this thing off. But I got one thing I definitely want to talk about tonight. That's really disheartening to me. Let me see. That Todd line too. I'm trying to figure out what that Todd is coming from your line too. You got some headphones?
Oh man, I ain't got them. Hold on.
Take if you got it on speaker, take it off speaker, and if you don't have the headphones, just take it off speakers. That way, it'll actually come through naturally.
Hold on. I'm putting my earbuds in now.
Okay, good deal, good deal. One of the things I want to talk about, one of the things I got to tackle, man. What is the situation going on? What is it? I go, Rico, tell everybody who you are, brother, where you're hailing from.
Rico Jackson. I'm hailing from Anniston, Alabama.
Good deal, good deal. We got Chris with here to step away, get some headphones. He'll be back with us in just 1 second. But I want to start this thing off tonight. And everybody know this is how the ball bounces. We're here every day, every Monday. We got somebody else just came in. Let me see who it is here. There we go. We got Aaron. We're gonna get everybody in here in a second. Aaron, how you doing, sir?
Good, man. How about yourself?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Tell everybody where you're hailing from.
Originally from Columbia, South Carolina, but live in High Point, North Carolina now.
High Point, North Carolina, right? You right there close to my brother. My brother that's above you right there in the red shirt. He in Greensboro.
Okay.
Yeah, he over there in Greensboro.
What's going on, fam?
How about
it? Listen, I want to talk to y'all about this situation. This is what I want to start off with, man. Fans in the arenas, are they out of control, brother? Are they out of control? Because Chris Paul, the situation what happened with Chris Paul and how they heckling and I think they put the hands on his mother, pushed his mother or something like that. Rico, is that just too much? Is that just too much?
It's been like that. I mean, you think way back when they got into that fight in Detroit, you know, that it was too far back then. I mean, you know, so once again, you know, this is probably a conversation that's probably not, to me, not so spectacular or sensational, being that, you know what I'm saying, I've seen it happen before. Now, maybe to somebody that's young and didn't know or see what happened in Detroit, they may look at this and be like, you know, look at it as a big deal. But I really don't look at it as a big deal, you know, but it is normal. I mean, you know, you had Kyrie Irving that was shooting birds at the Celtics fans a couple of weeks ago. You had Draymond Green shot birds at the fans because, you know, they laughed at him or jeered him after he got elbowed in the eye. So, you know, and then everybody hears about the Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I've seen footage of fans out there and when the Chargers and the 49ers play each other or the Raiders play each other, man, those jokers get to fighting out there. Sometimes it's the fans for the same team.
Yeah.
Throwing down.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, they go too far, man. You know, but I'm down here in Alabama, roll tide. But if you ain't careful, some years when Alabama lose, you got a couple of females that'll knock another female off if she get a little too carried away rooting for Auburn.
Wow.
Y'all lost. Y'all lost. Next thing you know, you seeing it on the front page news the next day.
But look at it. They take that thing real serious. That's like in Carolina, man. Carolina, the same thing, man. Them jokers get serious about that. And Aaron, you know about that. Them Gamecocks, they get real serious about that thing, man. But Aaron, let me ask you this question: Are the fans have they gotten out of control though? Is it just too much?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, anytime that someone, you know, starts getting disrespectful to the point to where they start putting their hands on another man's family, you know, that's, you know, one of the things that resonates to one of my favorite movies. You know, hey, you never threaten another man's family. You know, now there have always been heckling. You know, there's always been trash talk and stuff like that. I remember in college, as a college student in the stands. We used to heckle, the college football team that we played against. We'll just find one guy and we'll just heckle him, especially if he ain't playing.
Mhm.
That's the guy we talking to. Man, look, you on scholarship, but you on the sideline. You ain't been in the game all day. That's as far as we took it. And even me, my man mentioned the Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I'm a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan. I've been an Eagles fan since '81. But them folk crazy. They do some stuff. I just like, okay, it ain't that serious with me. It's just that crazy. I mean, here in North Carolina with the Carolina Duke rivalry.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's insane the way some of these people, really go in. And it's like, man, look, these are kids playing basketball. These are kids playing football. These are grown men coaching these young men. Hey, just love the sport for what it is. If you're going trash talk, but know when to say when. And when you start disrespecting a person's family, or like in the case of Russell Westbrook, when you disrespect the brother's name, hey, that's when you need to stop. You need to draw the line right there. You're getting too far.
Absolutely. Todd, what do you say? Well, I got two. I'm gonna call you Chris. I'm gonna call you Todd. Todd, what do you say to that? You on mute, brother. Can't hear you. You muted. Todd, you muted. Unmute yourself. Why you do that? Let me go to Chris. Chris, what do you say to that? What's on your heart, brother?
How you gentlemen doing this evening? Anyway, my gentleman was referring to the malice in the palace, but
yes, sir.
Detroit, that altercation has the malice in the palace. But it's just where we at in this culture now. That's how people feel they can do things. That comes from the era of the social media. Everything is taken a little bit too far. You go either get bullied in the stands, or they're gonna take it. You're gonna get some action in the stands. You're gonna get some action on social media. But for me, if I was that level of a player, I would want to have my family isolated. My family ain't gonna just be sitting out there in a regular crowd. Like, hey, I don't put in the work to not have my family in the regular crowd where somebody can throw a beer on my mama or whatever it's gonna be. It's a box up there somewhere. It's a few little things, but hey, man, it's part of the culture of life now. Things get taken too far. We're a long way from the respect of life. People don't respect the same things they used to respect back in the day. You could have a coach could have stopped the game and say, "Hey, we don't do this out here. Can't do that no more." So, it's way past disrespectful, and that's where we are in life. That's why I am at that. Yeah.
Good deal. Todd, talk to me, brother. What do you say to that?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can remember a couple of years back, probably 3 or 4 years, and it was a preseason baseball game. After the game, the parent actually lost his kid. They killed him.
Wow.
And just like he was saying, the father, he was like, after every game, both teams. At some point, I feel like the NBA, NFL, somebody need to take accountability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's their arena, they making the money. You know what I mean? But touching my mom, that'll be like way out of bounds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, we're gonna jump over a lot of things tonight. We're gonna jump over a lot of things. Got so much to talk about, man. One of the things that came across the pike that I saw is they're talking about now paying high school students. They don't jump past the college. Now they're talking about paying high school students. Now, Aaron, I know you're very close to the high school sports and things of that nature, man. What do you think about a high school student getting paid?
I don't necessarily agree with high school students getting paid. As far as athletics go, I mean, because there are so many other leagues that a high school student can participate in. They also have homeschool leagues, guys who don't actually attend public school, but they educate homeschool. In fact, the football team that I coach, a majority of the kids that I coach are from homeschool teams. So that's another educational aspect. So do you leave them out of the loop because instead of them going to a school every day, they educate at home? When we were in the pandemic, when we were really first started and all the kids were working from home? Are you going to compensate them kids for working at home, even though they can't go to practice and they can't go to games? You know, I think high school, not necessarily, because majority of the time you look at it, 85 to 95% of the kids are dependent on their parents for everything. You know, and I mean, there are certain programs, because that's the one thing I tell my son every day. I mean, like, you know, he's like, Dad, you know, the school lunches ain't all that great. School breakfast ain't all that great. And I'm like, well, there's some kids in your school, them the only meals they get.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Right.
You know, now in that aspect, do you want to have a kid compensated? More or less, I think that's more of a parental type situation where you give the parent help. The parent is raising the child, so you want to give the parent the necessary tools and resources, you know, to raise their children.
Yeah.
But paying a high school athlete or a high school kid because he's participating in athletics, no, because the purpose of high school is to get an education and prepare them for college. Now, college, that's a different ballgame. I mean, you know, depending on what you're doing in college.
Aaron, let me step in there for a second, because I hear what you're saying, but what's the difference though? Because some people argument will be both of them are to go there, get an education, and they can say that the college level is for them to get ready for the professional where they make the money. And so what do you draw the line though? What do you draw the line?
Because if you look at college, like I mentioned, University of North Carolina, Raheem, you mentioned University of North Carolina, my man mentioned Alabama. These universities rake in tens of millions of dollars per athletic season.
Okay.
You know, not necessarily a whole calendar year, but an athletic season. My sister-in-law used to work at University of North Carolina, Greensboro, and she was she was one of the deans at that university. Her team played against Duke, and she said, well, we would expect not to win against Duke because Duke's basketball budget is equivalent or even more than our whole athletic department budget.
Yeah.
So these schools really get sponsorships from Nike, sponsorship from Jordan, sponsorship from Under Armour, sponsorships from Adidas. They're raking in tens of millions of dollars, even ESPN and NBC and ABC to show their games. Name a high school that has ABC, NBC, or ESPN showing their games, unless it's some of these national tournaments that they're playing in. Like in Florida, they have like a national tournaments with football teams every year, you know, or they have basketball teams every year. Majority of the time, your local 2A high school is not part of that loop. It's not part of that cycle. So they're not bringing in tens of millions of dollars during their football season. They're not even bringing in tens of millions of dollars in their basketball season. You know, there's no one wearing a high school jersey for that athlete. Now, you got throwback jerseys, like you can buy LeBron's Nike Irish jersey from when he was in high school, or you can buy Kobe Bryant's Lower Merion high school jersey, or you can buy Michael Jordan throwback high school jersey. But your local high school, how many high school jerseys are you buying from your local high school? So the high schools aren't generating the income that the colleges are. High school has to depend on the Board of Education in their particular county or their state or their city to get that money. So unless you plan on giving more funding to the Board of Education to give to the kids who are playing sports, then yeah. But then what about the kid that's an honor roll student and that's on the band, or the girl that's on an honor roll student and she's on the color guard, or another girl, and I'm just using girl athletes right now, but you got another girl who doesn't play basketball, doesn't play, definitely doesn't play the football, but she runs track. You know, are we going to compensate them the same amount as the guys that's on the football team or the guys that's on the basketball team? Because football and basketball, they absorb so much of a school budget athletically. They also make a lot of money. But 9 times out of 10, a track meet is free. A volleyball game is free. A tennis match is free. So you playing $5 or $10 to get in a football game, $5 or $10 to get in a basketball game, but you got a free track meet or a free softball game. So you got to pay, if you're going to pay a high school athlete, you got to pay all high school athletes. But don't forget about the honor roll, the debate team, the chess club, the golf team, all these other sports that are not visible. Where are you going to do that? So high school, no. College, that's a different ball game because college is a moneymaker.
Exactly. Rico, what's on your heart concerning that, brother? They talking about paying these high school students, and Aaron made a very good argument. But what's on your heart?
I mean, he said it all. You know, I mean, it was all about the money that the colleges were making off these players' names, but these players weren't able to make any of that money off of those images, their own images. It was about a right thing, revenue. like you said, those high schools don't get that revenue, but you know, the mindset that where they paying them, they ought to pay us. That's a prostitute mindset. To me, that's the mindset that capitalism. And as soon as you start seeing money, then everybody's narrative changes, and they start thinking of, "Oh, I want some too. I want some too."
Yeah.
But see, that was a purpose behind this. It wasn't just because, hey, this is another way to make some money. Here goes another opportunity. Get it. But you know what's going to happen? You're going to create that. You're going to have parents prostituting their children and investing in their children at an early age to get these contracts and get these deals because they lazy tails don't want to work.
Hey, let me interject on that real quick, because he's right. Because if you think about it, look at these young ladies who participate in these pageants and how these mothers are spending thousands of dollars on their daughters to participate in pageants. You know, you got moms supporting other moms because, you know, my daughter got a gold medal, your daughter got a silver medal, you know, and this other daughter got a bronze. So my daughter doesn't need to be associated with your daughter because your daughter got a bronze. My daughter's above her. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, you got all these pageants and stuff going on. That's what it is. He's right. It is a prostitute mindset. But me, it's not even just that. It's a greed mindset. Because not only is it a prostitute mindset, it may be a pimp mindset because the pimp takes the money from the prostitute. She's doing all the work, but the pimp taking all the money.
Now we done turn the sports into the pimp league. We done turn the sports into the pimp league. Well,
that's what happens. That's what happens when you put that money in it. The parents start pimping the children, you know, and marketing them, and then they'll put them in all these camps and get these rankings. They'll get with these trainers, and these trainers will get in the camp, and they'll get these rankings, running drills and playing 7-on-7, but they won't get it based off of full contact. Then all of a sudden, just like you have first round draft pick flops in the NFL. You're going to have a whole lot of flops in high school that got paid a lot of money because they were overhyped and overrated based off of times and training and camps. And the same as in college. What's supposed to happen in college is soon the strong are going to survive and the weak and immature are going to separate and purge themselves on out of college because they got too greedy and thought about the money first. So what may end up happening is those that really have a love for the sport will end up going on, and those that get greedy and distracted will separate themselves before they even get a chance to get to the NFL and mess up because they're going to mess up in college getting millions of dollars. Trust me, Jai Hall already did it. I mean, you got a couple of guys from Alabama already now acting up and already done left and ain't played one down, got in the national championship game and dropped touchdowns.
Wow.
But he got an NIL contract.
Wow. Chris, what do you say to that, brother? Should the high school students get paid?
No. You're not even your mindset hadn't even reached enough to be able to handle getting paid yet. You know, you should live what you were living on. But when you say getting paid, you got to have some income coming in to offset getting paid. What you know? You think about a high school football game on Friday night, you might, you know, you sell some tickets. Some of these visible programs, you know, where you know these big time programs, you know, where they steal kids from other places and move their family that day. You know, that's what they do. But you got to have some real revenue to start paying people. And it's ridiculous to even be having that conversation. The
Chris,
whole concept.
Chris, bring your camera up a little bit, man. You kind of cut off a little bit. There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So the whole concept to me of even the college athletes getting paid was really about, you know, inner city kids, man. That was about people being actually broke. You know, we can't even afford I can't even afford to eat or, you know, even, you know, just have just viable means. My mama at home, my family back at home, and they're broke. You know, we're from somewhere we grew up poor, but the school just made $10 million last season off my jersey. You know, so if I take if somebody comes to me and buys me a meal or I get a little pair of sneakers on the side, then I can throw away my scholarship because of that, you know. Yeah. So that's why the college thing is there, because that was the only way you're gonna be able to have these kids in college, these real athletes, these guys who come from nowhere. Especially when you're talking about this basketball stuff, you always are usually talking about kids from the inner city, the kids who didn't have all this stuff. For these kids were a means to get away from the drug dealers, the pushers, the pimps, and all the stuff that we're talking about. So you have to come to a point where we say, hey, we got to have them some kind of stipend. Now, when you get to this point when you start telling kids who 17, 18 years old, these NIL contracts and all this, so you're going to be making 50,000, 60,000, $1 million deal, they're not going to be around long. They can't, their mindset can't handle it. They are having fun with the kids. I mean, with the other kids, the school, they still kids. Somewhere along the way, they're going to see between these NIL deals and this college transfer portal, this thing going to take a real bad turn. It's going to take a real bad turn.
Chris, I just thought about it. The way these young boys are, and even though they're good athletes, some of them come from single-parent homes, so they Jezebels. They stay on social media. They gonna go to flapping that money, and they gonna stay getting robbed and shot. And
it's
gonna be some people getting killed in high school
come along with
for that money if they get that money, because they gonna flash it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Part of
They
the
don't.
culture.
They don't know not to. They don't know not to. Todd, I'm sorry. Let me go call you Woods. Woods, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Well, I definitely feel like they shouldn't get paid. One, because I could probably see it working in our generation. The kids today is just totally different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you give a kid 50 stacks, he ain't gonna make it to college.
No.
You know, and I got a question for the panel. If you're thinking about being fair as far as the colleges, what about them kids that's in school just off academics? Shouldn't they get rewarded for? You see what I'm saying? I mean, everybody can't shoot a basketball or baseball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like it should set up for them as well.
But see, the argument that Chris was making a few minutes ago, and Aaron was making as well, I think Rico spoke on it too. The scholarship athletes, they're not bringing any money to the university. They're not bringing any money with the endorsements, with the sports, and with the ticket sales and the jerseys and all that stuff. They're not bringing no money to the table. And so, in order, how would you compensate them? Because they got academically in college and doing very well, they ain't making no money though. They ain't making the basketball court making you millions of dollars a year. Football field making you billions of dollars a year, and tennis and all the other sports are making you money. So what is the academic? And you don't want to see the thing about it, man. You don't want them to feel bad because they're smart, and that's pretty much what you're doing.
Right.
You put them in a situation where you're punishing them because they're smart. You don't want to do that. But what are they bringing to the table though? What money are they bringing?
I mean, but it's more or less like, okay, if you're gonna give me 4 years of education, and then my brother, he done made $6,000 a quarter just for playing ball. Okay, when it come time to come across that stage, you should have me placed in a job or something. You know what I mean?
Something, yeah.
It's like they paying them, and they got another avenue. And they don't got paid till they got to that avenue, and it may not be the NBA. It could be a D League, or they got another avenue.
Yeah.
But the average academic kid is at McDonald's somewhere. I mean, and I'm just saying, just if they can come up with a way to kind of make it fair, you know.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with fair to me.
Okay, Rico, how can we make it fair?
Well, honestly, it's not going to be able to be fair because they didn't do the deal right in the first place. The NCAA dropped the ball because they're going to still make the same amount of money off these players, and they ain't giving the players none of that money. The players making their money off of marketing from other people that's wanting to market their brand and use their face. So what the players are doing, like I said, they're prostituting themselves out. You want me to market your brand? Come on, I'll wear your watch. Oh, well, look, we want you to market this alcohol, or we want you to market this or that. So before you know it, somebody might be cutting this player a check for, from a whorehouse. Wow. Who's to say who's going to be, what brand is this player going to be marketing because they are projected to be a first round pick, or just because they play in Texas and everybody's a Texas Longhorn fanatic that, all you got to do is make a commercial. We're going to pay you $10,000 because people going to buy our product. They took the fun away from the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've made it branding and marketing. It's
Yeah.
all about money and marketing now. So now you fixing to have sorry players, like I said, overhyped, overrated, out here getting money to market a brand for Gatorade. For somebody come out with some T-shirts, ooh-wee T-shirts, a bootleg T-shirt, but they got about $10,000 worth of dope money to get this boy to help them to market that T-shirt so they can blow up and get their clothing brand started, clothing line. Ain't no limit.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like all those. We may not be in the hood, but we from the damn hood. You know what I mean? And I can see one of these young kids and a dealer getting to them and let me flip that for you. And, and next thing you know, he ain't gonna make it on school.
Look, I mean, that's not really necessarily new. I mean, one of the kids that I played college ball with, he got busted for drugs because he was having drugs mailed to his school mailbox.
Right.
This is in the night. This is back in the 90s. So he got busted doing that.
Right.
Look at all the pro athletes. And I'm not gonna hate them about Dallas Cowboy fans, but every time we turn around at one point in time during the late 90s, every time we turn around, a Dallas Cowboy was in trouble. Had cocaine in the car, got tested positive for drugs. The coach, but Barry Switzer had a gun in the airport. I mean, you got guys who are doing that, and they come from the hood, and then you got a drug dealer in the local hood. Like, yo, man, look, you the reason why, I'm the reason why you was able to keep your scholarship. I'm the reason why you went pro. So you gonna take this to Chicago for me.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, I got some people that can break your legs. You can't play no more. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, this some crazy stuff out there, that these brothers got to deal with. And, he said it. We ain't in the hood, but some of us are from the hood. Now, I grew up Army brat, but when we came home between the time from one base to another base, we was in the hood. It may not have been the projects, but we was in the hood. So, you have that hood mentality. So some people think that things ain't happening fast enough. So you got a kid in high school, and like you said, his brother was an academic, and he got an academic scholarship to, a college somewhere where he's playing football and he's stuck at home, and now they paid him, $6,000-$7,000, for that particular high school season. He's like, you may not have, that kid may not ever go to college because he got that $6,000 or $7,000, or somebody got bold and paid him $50,000. You give a modern kid now $50,000.
Oh my goodness.
It's the household is crazy. It's gonna be upset. There's gonna be a Lexus in the driveway. There's gonna be a PlayStation 5 in the living room. There's gonna be another PlayStation 5 in the bedroom. It's gonna be Jordans throughout the closet. The closet.
A Hellcat with the Scat Pack.
There you go. That's what you're gonna have. They see, like our generation, we understood that
you're gonna have a little Ray Ray flipping something for you.
Right, we were like, okay, this is a compensation for the hard work that I'm putting in, and if I can take this $6 and hold on to it and pay my college tuition, just in case I don't get that full scholarship, I can use this for my tuition. I can use this for my book. This will help my parents out a little bit. They ain't thinking that now.
Yeah.
I tell my son every time, I said, bro, if I go out there and play the lottery, I ain't telling you nothing if I hit. And he was like, Dad, how come you telling me? Because your room will look like Foot Locker and GameStop. It's going to be stuff all the way around your room. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell you that. But the thing about it is that if we go back, it's about accountability, but it's also about discipline. A lot of people don't have discipline. That's why they're acting the way they're acting, quote unquote, what they did to Chris Paul's parents. That's discipline. That's discipline and respect. You don't have that now. Social media has pretty much taken the veil off accountability and taken the veil off of discipline. People get, come tell me, man, how come your wife ain't on your page? Because some of y'all act a darn fool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why. Because I don't want you saying something out of the way to my wife. And my wife be like, hey, did you get a message from such and such? No, I don't even know who that is. That's such and such said, such and such. Now I got to, mess around and get involved in it. And I got to deal with these bullies that are social media bullies. But I'm like, dude, you in Kansas City, Kansas, talking noise to my wife about me. But come to North Carolina and then sit down and let's have a conversation. Now I can't find you. You done block me, and all that other stuff. So we'd rather not even go through all of that.
Exactly.
And I'm telling my son that too. He said, Dad, I want to be a pro athlete. This is what you're gonna have to deal with in the environment when you just get to college. Yeah,
exactly. Let me do it. Todd, come on, speaker. You got your thing on speaker. We're getting a lot of feedback from your line. Woods, take it off speakers. Yeah, you got to. I want to switch up a little bit. And Rico, I'm coming to you first with this right here, man. They just had not too long ago the NFL draft. They had the NFL draft. Who do you think? What team came off the best in the draft?
It remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think all this is just ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they could be like I think what was that guy named Todd Maranovich that went first in the draft, and he was supposed to be this big difference maker, and he turned out to be one of the biggest flops. So many people turned out to be the biggest flop.
Yeah.
Right now, we're still waiting on Saquon Barkley to do what he's supposed to have been projected to do, you know. But oh man, he can do this and he can do that. You hear Mel Kiper talking about what type of man some of these players they be bust, and then some of them turn out to be gems.
Mm-hmm.
So I say you ain't gonna be able to tell until they hit the field.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the organization. You know, some of those good players might end up in the bad organization, and they just gonna have to deal with it till they got an opportunity to leave. So I mean, it's really hard to say. I remember one time,
like Matthew Stafford.
Exactly. All right. One point in time, everybody was talking about how the Browns struck gold with Baker Mayfield, but little did they know he was a snake.
Mm-hmm.
But oh no, Baker is a catch. Baker's the number one pick. He's gonna change the atmosphere of the Cleveland Browns. And then he turned out to be the biggest wreck, and everybody that bought him in feeling like he could be that guy turned out to be just bad to an organization. Mm-hmm. I mean, so I really don't go with this draft and all the hype. I just wait till they kick off.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Chris, what do you say to that, man? As far as the draft, who do you think on paper came off the best?
Probably the Jets. And that's just all the draft is a gamble on predictions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you still got to hit the field, you still got to play the game, and you still got to live up to your hype when they put you out there. You know, we see it every year where this first round guy, he got there, and the 7th round guy ended up being a starter. The draft is just a gamble of life, and everybody can look good. Like I say, when you giving out accolades and all that, and these guys, you don't come down there and you as he was saying about Saquon Barkley and all that, and you in the Heisman Trophy, and you getting the dope camel, and you in the conversation all around about the best player in these things. When you get to that big boy league, when you have to put on your big boy pants, then that's when you find out what kind of player you're. So to me, all the draft is moving a guy to the next level. Mm-hmm. And a prediction of who he was in college, hoping he pans out in pro. Like I say, the Jets had a pretty good draft, but they had picks, so you get all these top guys. That ain't to me. The later round guys seem more hungrier. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody holding their hand. Yeah. Ain't nobody got no fresh suit for them. They ain't on TV every week. They still working out. Mm-hmm. While the guys flying across the country and getting spoiled and all that. Welcome to the league, Ricky. There's some guys still working, man. Mm-hmm. Philadelphia had a pretty good draft, man. I like that DT from Georgia, the big guy. He's running 4.6 at like 340 pounds or something in the trade. But to me, the draft is starting to be overrated, and to the point where it's going to move into what you do in free agency in this league now. You saw that with the Rams. We're going to go get some guys. Hey, people are saying they're going to be willing to say, hey, we'll see if we can buy Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. You see all these people trade away 3-4 picks this year, like the Raiders did, the Kansas City and them did. Guys are expecting, hey, you give us 3 picks or something, hey, we'll let this guy go. But it's going to be a free agent league for the draft. And it's going to trickle that all the way back down to the college level in this EIE money, because the EIL money, because they're going to let guys know your value, the only value you really got is when you can put on the pass up here in this league and show what you can do.
Exactly.
So that's, but it was some teams that had some good draft, some good quality draft picks.
Absolutely. Woods, on paper, who you think came off the best?
Definitely the Jets, because they had so many picks. I think they had 3 first rounds. Or, they
top 10.
I think they got like 10 all together. But
they didn't handle 10.
It's not a hard job to pick when you got 3 first-round picks and who's the best players, when you got people that actually go see these players.
Yeah.
But just like bro said, all of us are gamble, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of them, you win some, you lose some, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Now, Aaron, Mike Tyson said something. Everybody's a champion until they get hit. Now, when they get out there and they got all this hype, when they get out there and they get hit by them NFL boys that hit for real, when you got them running into them stone walls and stuff like that, man, can that change the whole attitude, atmosphere, and make them not kind of second guess? You know, maybe this ain't what I want to do the rest of my life. What do you say to
that? Yeah, that is true. I mean, you know, I coach football, you know, and we get ready for our fall season. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I tell my kids every time, look, you know, in football, it's 2 type of guys playing football. The ones that get hit and the ones that hit. Mm-hmm. Which one you want to be? Yeah. I'm going to tell you now, getting hit hurt worse than hitting somebody. Yeah. You know, who get hurt when it comes between the hammer and the nail? I don't think that hammer say ouch not one time. Yeah. You know, but I mean, yeah, and the fellas are right as far as the draft pick. Now, the one thing I'm gonna say about the draft pick, why the Jets had the great draft pick, because they were so bad all them previous years.
Exactly.
You know, that's why they got all the good draft picks this year. But it's not a matter of the draft picks; it's a matter of what you do with them. Mm-hmm. You know, I got 2 names for y'all. You know, Terrell Davis, and Tom Brady. Both these guys were 6th-round draft picks, but both of these guys won multiple Super Bowls. Yeah. You know, they're calling Tom Brady, which is a viable thing. They calling him the GOAT, but he was a 6th-round draft pick coming out of Michigan. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, he wasn't even the starter his first 3-4 years in Michigan. Yeah. You know, keep in mind of that. You know, Terrell Davis, you know, running back for the Denver Broncos. He was a 6th-round draft pick coming out of, I believe he came out of Georgia. I think that's where he came out of.
From Georgia? Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, you know, I mean, it's not a matter of the draft picks. It's a matter of what you do with it. How many times has New York taken a quarterback in the first round? A la Mark Sanchez. Yeah. A la Chad Pennington. You know, this is going to be the guy that's going to turn this around. You know, I remember one year Keyshawn Johnson was a 1st-round draft pick, you know, or a trade deal or something. They had Keyshawn Johnson up there. You know, they've had Michael Vick up there. They've had great players, but that season is, you know, 4-8 and 6-10 and, you know, 2-14, something like that. You know, they start out with great promise, but it's the real of the matter is you don't know how good you are until you strap up your cleat, put that helmet on, and get out there and actually play. Now, you got guys that's been out there 7, 8, 9, 10 years. So he's been lifting weights 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years. He's gotten stronger and faster since he did when he came into the league. Ray Lewis. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, that's one of the premier dudes. You know, the late Junior Seau. Mm-hmm. You know, that's one of the premier hitting dudes. So you don't necessarily have guys that will hit you like that now. You might have a few. And if you happen to get hit by them, you're going to realize now you're playing football.
Mm-hmm. This game is real. Rico, you wanted to say something, Rico?
Yeah, man. I was gonna say, man, you know what? It's funny that we say the Jets did good because the Jets do good every draft. He said Mark Sanchez, Sam Darnold. They had Quentin Williams, the lineman from Alabama, a couple of years ago. They got with the 2nd pick. I mean, sometimes it's the organization, and sometimes it's the atmosphere. It's the city. I think New York is going to be a hard place to win in football now. I think it's too many distractions in the city of New York altogether for everybody to unite as a team and concentrate and focus. And there's too much money floating around now. And so it's just funny because when everybody was saying, I think New York Jets did good. And as soon as I finished talking, the first thing I thought about was, man, I remember when New England drafted Tom Brady, when nobody saying, man, I think New England did good. Mm-hmm. Nobody thought anything about New England. I mean, Tom Brady almost ended up being Mr. Irrelevant. If you think about it. But look what ended up happening with, and they always draft that way. If you think about it, New England has a system in place to where they don't need the superstars. Mm-hmm. They just need the people that come in with the right work ethic, that fit their piece of the puzzle, and they build around that. So, like I said, that's another reason why I look at the draft like this. Number one, Mel Kiper is probably one of the luckiest people in the world because he's ripping people off. Yeah. I mean, what he does is a waste of time. They make it seem like he's some type of expert or guru, and then every time they have a draft, they don't never fall in the order that Mel Kiper says it's gonna fall into. And so, you think about that whole ceremony, all that coverage, all that the ratings and the media coverage for that, and then all of a sudden it takes a 6th rounder to be the GOAT. It really goes to show you that you really don't even have to go through all that unless you just want to see who got the fastest 40 time. But all that coverage is really a waste of time.
Exactly. Boys, let me ask you this question. We talking about Brady and Belichick.
They ran like a 5'6" 40.
Let me ask you, who was the most important element of that New England team? Was it Belichick or was it Brady? Can you hear me?
That was chemistry.
Oh, that's what that was?
I think that was chemistry. I would have to say it had to be Tom. Tom got more rings.
Okay. Todd, what do you say to that? Chris, what do you say to that? Who was the most important element in that whole New England chemistry? Was it the coach or was it Brady?
Well, if you say it, put it on that level of the rings and winning like that, and but I think it was their system, man. Plugging in little guys like Wes Welcome them and all. They never had no big time receiver. That was the old West Coast offense. The 49ers coach used to run back, Bill Walsh. That was that old offense where your running back was a pass catcher, running back out of the backfield, like Roger Craig and them was, Wendell Tyler and them was back in the day. So they never got a running back and put him out there to say, you finna have a 1,500-yard season. They did a little dump off pass. Brady didn't throw the ball deep over his career till he had Randy Moss, man. Yeah. If you go back and look at it, so their system, he was the GOAT, but when they say he the GOAT, you go back and say, well, the conversation I have with guys, people like, well, these championships could have been watered down if Seattle would have just ran the ball. The Tuck Rule game against the Raiders, the Flake Gate, when they was filming and all that stuff. So he's got some eyes in the fire of being a GOAT, man. But I just always say it's a lot of stuff that we have over life. It was some guys who, under other circumstances, probably would have been better probably than Brady. But in the conversation is what we're saying in the question of being asked. I think it was their system, but Brady had a lot to do with that system. You still got to be a professional. You still got to be able to have guys believe in you. He took over for Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe was an all-pro quarterback. Man. Yeah. Wow. So you take an all-pro quarterback and he can't get his job back after he get hurt, and you did something.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Now, Aaron, I'm gonna ask you a trick question, brother. But I know you can handle it. Take our quarterback, our ex-quarterback. He just retired. Big Ben. Put him in New England. Take Brady and put Brady in Pittsburgh on those teams. Would the results be the same?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Now, my answer would be
because Ben had that rifle. He would do what Brady couldn't do. He'll throw it down the field 60 yards.
Well, the thing about it is this: Brady has already left to another team and won a Super Bowl. So I would say that.
Back your camera up a little bit, Aaron.
Yeah, I had it back up. Somebody jumped out.
Okay.
All right, I'm using my phone. So.
Yeah, you good? You good?
All right, there you go. All right, but Brady has already left New England, went to Tampa Bay, and won a Super Bowl. Okay. Ben has played in Pittsburgh his whole career.
Yeah.
So I would say if you took, when they were at their prime, at their best, going against each other in the AFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl, if you were to switch it, you would probably have the same results. I'll put that on coaching. I'll put that on personnel. But I would still give the edge to Brady because he has gone to another team. He's won the Super Bowl. So, now, like I said, people call Brady the GOAT. I personally don't. I think he's the most decorated You know, and he's
Yeah.
definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I don't think he's the GOAT. Reason why I don't say he's a GOAT, because there are two men in NFL history who've been to the Super Bowl more than 3 times and they ain't never lost.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as they got that 0 in the L column for a Super Bowl and they got 4 each, I give both of them split of the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady is right behind him. Now, you know, everybody gonna say, well, he got 7. Yeah, but he's 7-3.
Yeah.
He got 3 losses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Yeah.
of those 7, 3 of them he wasn't on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Vinatieri kicked the winning field goal for 2 of them, and that Seattle game, if old boy don't jump that slant, they lose.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady was on the bench in tears because he thought he was going to lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta game.
You know, so you know that's what I'm saying. So if you look at volume of work, he's the most decorated. He's not the GOAT because he did experience losses. I say the same thing about LeBron James. Love LeBron. I love that kid from Akron, but he's not the greatest basketball player of all time. Not when
even
you
a conversation. Not even a
got
conversation.
the same amount of losses that somebody else got wins in the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that dude, he said it. Who I say the GOAT is, he was like, as long as I'm playing, as long as I'm healthy, we go into the playoff. And I'll be darned if his team didn't go to the playoff. He won 3, retired for a year and a half, came back, won 3 more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the GOAT, in my opinion. You know, because the complete body of work of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I mean, this football thing is you know, Big Ben, love Big Ben. If he was in that system in New England, he would probably be more efficient than he was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But I still think Big Ben would not beat Tom Brady head to head like that.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Rico, what do you say to that?
I agree, man. I mean, you know, sometimes you can look in the person's eyes and tell they got that it factor. They got that competitive spirit, that extra edge that other people don't have. And I predicted Tom Brady being good, but I didn't predict him being this good. When his senior year, he was splitting time with oh man, what's that guy he was splitting time with in Michigan, man? He had the big name, Greasy, I think.
Oh, Brian Greasy.
Yeah, I think it was him and one more quarterback, man. He was splitting time with him. And they played Alabama in the bowl game, man.
I think it was
and him and David Terrell went crazy. I mean, Alabama was whooping the man, but he just kept coming back and they beat Alabama, man. And I was like, man, I said, that man, I'm looking in his eyes, man. And he had this look in his eyes like, man, I ain't going to let you beat me. And from that point forward, every time I seen him play, he seemed like he had this look in his eyes that just, he didn't care what you would do, he was going to play you. So I give him the edge in that matchup because the years that they beat Pittsburgh, he didn't have the weapons that Ben had. And then on top of that, true enough, they lost some Super Bowls and they got cut short in some playoffs. But Belichick, just like Arians cost them a Super Bowl this past year, you know, because they really could have went to the Super Bowl had they not went for it on 4th down and kicked field goals in the red zone. You know, that analytics stuff is messing a lot of stuff up. But I don't know if people recall, the Colts and the Patriots used to battle. And one year, the Patriots was up by 2 points, and they had like maybe 45 seconds left in the game, and Bill Belichick went for it on 4th down and won on his like 12-yard line and gave the ball over to the Colts. The Patriots lost a couple of games like that too in the playoffs that could have kept them going to the Super Bowl. So they missed some Super Bowl they should have went to, just like they won some that they could have lost. So I look at the person and the consistency, man, and what that guy did. Yeah, he would have went crazy with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, exactly. Rico, I'm gonna stay with you for a second, and I'm gonna go right down your alley, man. Tell me about that Alvarez and Bivol. I can't say his name right. Fight.
Bivol, I think, yeah. Man, I was wondering, was you gonna get to it, man?
Yes, sir.
I was gonna get to it, man. That was another one, man. That young boy. The first time I seen that young boy, first off, he caught my eye because he looked Asian, but he's Russian. You know what I'm saying? So I guess he one of those Siberian Russians. But when he was young, man, I saw he had that Errol Spence feel to him, man. He could punch the whole
Mhm.
fight. He could throw as many punches as you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, man, he's dominating champions. I think Kovalev and a couple of more people that was champs at the time, man, when he fought him, he dominated him.
Mm-hmm.
So when they said Canelo was moving up to fight this dude, I didn't think he was going to beat Canelo like that. I felt like he could beat him. But when I saw Canelo thudding the man and hitting him in the body, and that Joker wasn't moving or cringing, he was just taking it and coming on forward like it wasn't bothering him.
Yeah.
I knew Canelo was in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
He was in trouble.
And Canelo, he went up a weight class.
Light heavyweight, man.
Light
heavyweight.
Yeah.
He looked like Joe Frazier out there, didn't all wide, man. He looked like a mix between Joe Frazier and Mike Tyson out there, man, just wide. He was bigger than that boy, wide, with side, good weight.
Yeah. But like I said, the dude, he was just in the jab. He couldn't get past that jab, man. That jab kept him at bay. And then he was just using his right like he wanted to use that right, man. And I say, and you and I talked about this, Rico. I say that your boy only won 3 rounds, and it's because Bivol, he took one of those rounds. He just took it off, but still he had his moments in that round that he took off. He still had his moments. Aaron, did you see that fight? Aaron, you doing something fancy over there?
Somebody might have called him and knocked him off. He got to get back.
No. I was messing around. I'm getting to the alert and my phone getting hot. So I'm trying to move it around so it stay cool. Nah, man, I didn't see that fight. But I mean, I kind of read about it on ESPN.com, and the one thing I learned about boxing, and I'm gonna use that joke on Facebook. Like a good neighbor, stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying? If you a welterweight, stay welterweight, man. Don't try to move up no weight and fight nobody, man. If you a heavyweight, don't try and lose no weight and move down and fight nobody, man. If you are dominating your weight class, then you just tell some guys, hey, they need to get their weight up and come up here with me. Or hey, I need some other guys. I need another guy to come up, and challenge. I mean, if you don't run any more challenges, then hey, made your money. You don't won your belts and everything. Pull a Floyd Mayweather. All right, I'm done. Peace. I'm out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just,
what about your Evander Holyfield that was light heavyweight? He dominated there, then he moved up to the heavyweight and still was very successful even in the heavyweight.
Okay, for every Evander Holyfield you're gonna have about 6 brothers you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying, because look at a lot of the other great fighters. Like look at Bernard Hopkins, look at Sugar Shane Mosley, look at Roy Jones Jr. He dominated his weight class. And then he tried to move, and it's kind of like Mike Tyson. You a champion till you get hit. So I mean, just pretty much stay in your lane, because you ain't listening to the fans when someone say you need to move up. You listen to, I forgot my boy's name, but my dad. You listen to the commentators. And my dad can't stand one of them. I can't remember what his name is. My dad hated that dude. But the Mel Kiper of boxing, basically, you listening to them, you're like, well, yeah, maybe I do need. I'm like, man, forget all that. Muhammad Ali, greatest boxer of all time. He never changed his weight class. You just gonna have to come up here and beat me. I'm already at the king of the hill. If I got the belt, then I'm at the top. You got to come up to the top to beat me. Why I have to move down and lose weight and lose possibly my punching power to beat you? You ain't in my class. So that's why they have different weight classes. If you wanted to see who the best of the best, put everybody in the same pot, put everybody in the same thing, just have one undisputed belt and everybody fight for that belt. But stay in your lane. That dude dominating. Okay, well, let him dominate. Let him dominate in his weight class. He's the best in his weight class. How many times have we heard, Sugar Ray Robinson, pound for pound, the best fighter. He's the best fighter in his weight class. He was the best in his weight class. So you didn't see him saying, well, I'm gonna go up to about 235. I'm gonna fight heavyweight. No, I'm gonna stay where I'm at. I'm like Uncle Elroy. I'm the king around here. I may not be the king over somewhere else, but I'm the king over here. So I'm gonna stay over here in my lane, do my thing, make my money. Floyd Mayweather, he's one of them. He stayed in his weight class. He didn't try to go heavyweight and take on some of them other dudes. He didn't try to lose weight, take on them dudes smaller. He stayed right there in his weight class. And so that's why he retired undefeated.
The one your dad don't like, is his name Jim Gray?
Is it Jim Gray? Is it Jim Gray or is it the other dude? I can't remember.
Might be Larry Merchant.
Larry Merchant.
That's it. That's him.
Everybody hated Larry Merchant.
My dad could stand Larry Merchant. That's him.
I know Jim Gray. He used to try to get up on them guys' skin every chance he get. Man, he try to get up under their skin. He throw little pegs at them. But Chris, talk to me, brother.
Yeah,
Did
man.
Did you see the fight?
Yeah. So here's the thing about these kind of fights right here.
Uh-oh.
So here's what Canelo been down there. He been down. He ain't fought nobody in the last 2 years since he fought Triple G. True for the matter. Okay. So now you put on a little bit of weight, and you go up, but you've been out here beating these little guys, beating these guys up. You step up to another weight class where this guy's been taking. He been taking your punches and some more. He already been getting hit hard by some bigger guys. He's been getting hit hard, but he's already conditioned for that weight class. His conditioning wasn't the same. That's why he looked like a truck. That's why he looked so wide. His conditioning wasn't the same, so he couldn't even win rounds. He wasn't even conditioned. He wasn't even the conditioner in that fight. But that Bivol already been here. You coming to me, and now you coming to a bigger league. I hit harder, and I'm in condition for this. So he let his confidence trick him into running up. But it's the game of, he run his own little pay-per-view thing now, and everybody chasing money along with thinking they can beat Floyd, and we're gonna have big paydays and all that. And we're gonna run up here and we're gonna dominate this video. It's all these guys out here in the little mix, like the Charlo brothers and them, and Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford and them. It's a melting pot right in there, a little thing in there. For Canelo though, can't really say he beat Triple G the last time or the last 2 times to have it go, but boxing is a money game, it's prize fighting. So if once Floyd left, what boxing is looking for is the next big name. Who's gonna bring the draw? Who's gonna bring the pay-per-view? Canelo got it a little bit of that, but he got some experience of moving up. The next time he'll be in better shape, and but I'm thinking he'll go back down and win and stay where he can win at.
He better.
He don't want that.
He better go back down.
He don't want that, man. So that's how that happens, man. But that conditioning, Floyd was a champ because he was most skilled. But Floyd was a champ because he was in better condition than anybody ever. He never fought a guy that was in better condition than him. He never fought a guy who was in better, who trained as hard and was in better condition. Floyd deserved everything he got because he put in the work. You got to put in the work. Put in the work, man.
Who would have won? Who would have won, Floyd Mayweather or Roy Jones Jr.? Rico.
Ooh.
Floyd wouldn't let Roy hit him, and Roy didn't have any power in his punches. Roy wasn't known for knocking people out. You know what I'm saying? Roy was just known for that style and that chicken dance, and taking risks with his punches and fighting with his hands down. You see, Floyd, man, Floyd got Matrix vision. I mean, he's been doing this stuff, man, since he was 2 years old, man. I mean, he noticed things about boxing. Did it?
Wasn't Roy good at making you miss too, though? Roy had a skill of making you miss too now.
Yeah, he had a skill on making you miss, but I mean, he got hit. Evidently, obviously, he got hit quite a few times. You get what I'm saying?
Hit him pretty good. Tarver hit him pretty good.
Floyd got hit a couple of times too, but Floyd, you see what Floyd did when he got hit. Like I said, man, Floyd got this Matrix vision, man. He has this thing that Barry Sanders has. He's a prodigy and he's a gift. He's gifted. Barry said that his vision was based off the fact that he could watch people's waistline and tell what direction they was gonna go in, even before they made the decision, because they had no choice. This was something that he peeped out when he was very young, and it paid off for him throughout his career, that other people just couldn't pick it up. This is just something that he picked up. This is like somebody with aim. No matter what they do, they're gonna always hit the bullseye. He had this vision, and he could tell where you was gonna move. And I watched Floyd fight, and Canelo did it the other night too. They actually mentioned that Bivol was doing it. He was watching Canelo's shoulders. Floyd watches this part of your body, and when you move a certain way, your body has no choice. Because of force, but to go in certain directions. And he was able to peep out that when you're moving in this direction, you either fixing to throw a punch or you want to throw that punch. And he could peep that movement, know you was getting ready to do that, and he could move and forecast. That's why you see so many people swinging, and he was already reading the movement because he could tell where their body was going based on the fact that the way they were positioning themselves. He had already trained himself.
Yeah.
So he was just different, man. I mean, if anything, it probably would have been the least landed punches. Between him and one.
But see, that's something that art right there is actually something they teach you in martial arts too, to read the individual's body and how they're positioned, how they're standing. Because you eliminate certain things. Is Aaron, what's on your heart, brother? Who would have won that fight in your estimation?
Well, I would give the edge to Floyd because Floyd was a better defensive fighter than Roy Jones. Roy Jones was a better offensive fighter. But there's one thing that a lot of people forget in every sport. Okay, film study. Really study film. You can pick up on tendencies of what a player likes to do. Or what a fighter likes to do, especially in boxing. Boxing, a boxer's punch is like his signature on a contract or a signature on the. It's like handwriting. You know what I'm saying? You can anticipate what he does. And Floyd studied film. He studied his opponent very, very well. So yeah, certain body language he would move, or if the guy held his head a certain way or dipped his shoulder a certain way, Floyd knew what punch was coming because he really studied the film on that dude so much. Roy Jones Jr. was like that too, but he studied what he could do to a person based on their defensive stance. Okay, so
how would they counteract each other? How would they counteract each other?
Well, Floyd was so quick with it. It's one thing looking at it on film. It's another thing actually getting in the ring. And keep in mind, Floyd is a very little dude. And I mean, me being 6'1", and Roy Jones Jr., I think maybe he was like maybe 5'9", 5'10", 6 feet in that range too. It's hard to hit a dude that small like that. They are real quick, compact. So you might hit him, but you're not gonna really hit him flush. I go back to watching that Pacquiao fight with Floyd, and Pacquiao trying to do everything he can to hit Floyd, but the punches were just grazing off of Floyd. Floyd was turning his body a certain way that was abnormal for Pacquiao. Everybody else would probably turn into it. Floyd is turning his body a different way to where the punch would just glance off of. So Roy Jones Jr. was kind of like, he was a more of an offensive fighter, but all offensive fighters had a hard time with Mayweather because Mayweather was a defensive fighter. So he would be able to evade and counter. So that would set up, and that's one of the problems. That was one of Roy Jones Jr.'s weakness. When he fought a fighter that could counter him, he could swing, but when the guy moved or evaded or blocked and countered, that's where Roy Jones kept himself open. I would give Floyd that aspect of it because of that right there. Those are the differences between their two. They're both great fighters, but Mayweather was a better defensive fighter because he could counterpunch better than Roy Jones Jr. could.
Okay, good deal, good deal. Let me go to Chris, and we're ready to get out of here. How great was this fight? I know you remember it. I know you watched it. Hagler Hearns.
Oh, one of the all-time greats.
It wasn't long. It wasn't long.
No.
3 rounds.
If you get listen, see, they would say now you see some of these fighters where you might get a whole 10-round fight and not have that many solid punches thrown in a fight between that fight. Well, man is
they fall on the phone booth.
You know what I'm saying? Well, man, both of them are on the almost to the end of could go at any time.
Yeah.
You get one of those fights like that, and that's what so because you'll see a lot of these fights now, that's what kind of was a knock on Floyd at the back end of his career. He ducked or he didn't throw enough punches or they just finessed out the ring, for the check. That was classic, man. I mean, that was that was boxing though. Over the years, it's just like every other sport, in our lifetime. We're from when everything was gladiators. Now we're into the watered down stage of life. Basketball, football, we protecting guys not like they're not playing football, or we're protecting guys like they're not playing basketball. Everything is a little bit more watered down to the stuff like that. Hagler Hearns, man, is one of the top 5 classic fights of all time
sir.
in that little short period of time, man. Because they just, it's almost like two guys, almost like two pit bulls, like let them loose. Go in there and go in.
Yeah,
you know, them those almost like a bar fight where they throw all the, we're gonna throw all the skills out. Ain't nobody want jabbing. We jabbing. We going to we slinging haymakers.
One of us gonna fall. One of us gonna fall.
Man fight. You know. So but I would say this about that point. Think about that era though, with Marvel and Hagler and Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran. Man, you got to realize. Floyd Mayweather Sr., Roger Mayweather, them, those guys, even guys who didn't necessarily win world championships, they were great fighters in that. That was ABC Wide World of Sports. It was a boxing match on for free every Saturday. You know, so if you were a fan of sports, you caught a lot of this stuff for free way before pay-per-view.
The thrill of victory,
you know,
and the agony of defeat.
Yeah, you know, you could catch, you know, even early Mike Tyson stuff was on free ESPN stuff, you know, along the way. Was it Tuesday night fights or something like that, or something like that? I remember growing up, but yeah, that was a classic fight, man. Great fight. You know, you're gonna be hard pressed to see anybody like that. Everybody like to try to come out there with their finesse move or whatever, trying to. You know, so, and the money, you know, guys was dudes then, you know, and they weren't trying to dodge each other, trying to get more money to fight. We all know the Pacquiao and Mayweather fight should have fought 5 years. It wasn't like one of them before they fought. It wasn't like one of them went to jail or something. They were out here fighting. You know, you fought the real guys. I will say Muhammad Ali is the best of all time, and I give that to Muhammad Ali because of the era what he was, the races, the things he was dealing with, to also be the champion. And I can
agree with that. I can agree with that, Muhammad. And I would definitely give Muhammad the greatest of all times. But Rico, why nobody? And we got to get out of here, man. It's 7:08. Why nobody give any credit to Jack Johnson?
Well, see, that's what people forget about him. I mean, think about what he went through at the time when he was fighting. I mean, he could have easily been rushed by a mob and lynched at home for whooping some of them men the way he whooped them. So you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Jack was running around with a white woman now.
Yeah, he was still, he was doing that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, intimidating policemen riding around with gold teeth in his mouth, grinning. You know, they ain't like that. You know, but I think about when he was doing it. I'm like, yeah, man. I mean, I grew up in the Muhammad Ali era. We grew up in that era, and we had the action figures and this and that. So of course, you know, we idolized him, man. But when I found out about Jack Johnson's history and everything about him, I put him on that level, man. Because of the era that he fought in.
Can I come in and say something? Can I say something before we go?
Yes, sir.
Listen, if Mike Tyson would have stayed with the same people, Custom Auto them, Teddy Atlas them, Kevin Rooney them, before we got corrupted by Don King them, and you know, people coming here without good intentions for you, I would have put him right up there and say, and I still do, as far as Mike Tyson is to me, fought every guy who was supposed to be the guy. Oh, you the contender? Okay, come on. If Mike wouldn't have never got out of his character, Holyfield, them and those guys, Buster Douglas, those guys, they couldn't have beat Mike.
They would have never stood a chance.
They never stood a chance.
Yeah, good deal. You know. Well, we're going to get out of here, man. It's been a great broadcast. Terry told me to tell y'all fellas, man, he missed y'all, man. He had another assignment he had to take care of today, but he'll definitely be back. He said he'll definitely be back on with us next week. Good show, y'all. Good.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good, man. Enjoyed it.
Yes, sir.
Enjoyed it.
I'm gonna play this right here. I'm gonna play this little advertisement. We got a little situation going on. We got a redeemed awards going on at the end of the month on the 29th. I'm gonna play this right here. Then after that, we're gonna get on out here. Anybody, y'all want to say anything? Anybody want to say anything in their closing before we get out of here? We good to go? Good
well, real quick, just want to say, Jack Johnson opened the door for Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you know,
no.
Ali was able to say he was able to say I'm the greatest because Jack Johnson proved how great he was.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and so that's why Muhammad Ali was able to say I'm the greatest, because Jack Johnson went up there and said, I'm kicking the door in for the greatest to come through.
Yeah.
And next week, I'm gonna ask y'all a question, and I want y'all to marinate over a little bit. I'm gonna ask y'all this question next week. Was Jerry Rice the greatest receiver of all times? Was Jerry Rice the greatest wide receiver of all times? Don't answer right now. Y'all think about that. We'll talk about it next week. Give everybody that's listening something to waver over. Cliffhanger. I ain't no telling what y'all gonna say, but was Jerry Rice the greatest wide receiver of all times? Listen at this video. I want to thank you all for joining us. After the video, we shutting it down. So you all, thank you for joining us. This is, what is it? 7-11. It is now 7-11. I want to thank you all for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and How the Ball Bounces for being a part of your day. It is now 7-11. You're about to exit How the Ball Bounces. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do for it. Have a great day. Take care of each other, and please, please, please be blessed. Love you.